it is Irene with Conquer Beauty Clinic. Today's video is going to be about it's going to be a very general baseline on how to become a body sculpting educator. That is a question I get asked pretty frequently. So again, I am going to do a very general one. I do have a workshop for $199. It's a 2-hour Zoom course that goes super in depth, and I even give you examples in my materials. So again, it's going to be pretty general, so I do keep it fair for the girls who do pay for the courses, but either way, let's get into it. So how to become a body sculpting educator, it may depend on your city, state, county. So if you are a licensed, if you have to be a licensed cosmetologist or esthetician to do body sculpting services, that process is going to look a little bit different. You kind of have to go through the same process as the schools for cosmetology teachings do, because that's a little bit more in depth. So this video is geared to those who don't necessarily need to be an esthetician, massage therapist, or cosmetologist to do body sculpting. So that's the first step. You do want to check your requirements. That's very important, just to make sure we're doing things correctly and by the rules. So that is step one, check your local requirements. Now, say you don't need to be a licensed cosmetologist, esthetician, or massage therapist to do body sculpting where you're at. You are okay, especially if you have experience, to continue body sculpting education. I definitely never recommend you only doing body sculpting for like a month or two and then jumping into education, because I personally feel like that's not long enough to have tried different things, to have lots of work to kind of show that you do know what you're doing and you do know what you're talking about, essentially. And then that's also not enough time to make mistakes. So, my first year in business, I've made tons of mistakes. My first year educating, I made tons of mistakes. And as does everybody when starting a new job, we kind of work and we learn. And instead of beating ourselves up about the mistakes we made, all we can do is move forward and learn from them. So step two, if you do have all that year of experience, and you don't need to be any of those things, is to get some sort of accreditation. That's not required by any means, but it is helpful. We are accredited through the Better Business Bureau. It's essentially a third-party company that even Fortune 500 companies use. They go over your training program, your websites, make sure everything looks good. They go over all your information, and they say if they want to represent and accredit you or not. So it is an application process, but it is relatively easy. And we did get accredited, so that is helpful. And it is kind of just you going out of your way and taking that extra step to make sure all of your materials and all of your information is on point. They do have hundreds of accreditation companies. Some of them are specific to the med spa body sculpting industry. Just do your due diligence and your research on said accreditation company to ensure it is not a scam. So that is step two. Step three is to decide on how you want to educate. Decide on your packages. Do you want to do Zoom? Do you want to do in person? Do you want to include the equipment? Do you not want to do any of that and just do like a vendor list? Decide how you are comfortable training people. Especially when you're first getting started, it's okay to have just one set package and escalate or get bigger bundles or bigger packages. The more comfortable you get as an educator, because it is just like starting anything new. You're going to make mistakes. So be patient with yourself. Do your very best. Ensure you have the proper education to give out, and you'll be fine. So that is step three. Sorry, I keep looking over here because I have my little cheat sheet here. That is step three. And then step four is to create your class materials. Create a good training manual, some good lymphatic drainage sheets for your students, some good pinpoints for your students. Create the after class resource information. Create all the training materials. Again, if in the workshop, we'll go super in depth in this if you're interested in that. But you just want to give them some really good paper resources to reference back to after you've concluded the course, because there's nothing worse than paying somebody a bunch of money to help you with something, and then obviously we don't retain everything and they give you nothing to reference back on. So if you go to do it and you have some questions, it's always good to have the paper references for your students. So create those materials. Now the next step is to create contracts. So say you are accredited, you figured out what you needed to do the education in terms of your city state. You already know for a fact you want to do an in-person class, and this is how much you're going to charge, and this is what's going to be included. Create a contract. When I first started body sculpting educating, I wasn't doing a contract, and it's always best to do so. Now, I do find in the body sculpting education world, your job is to educate, properly educate, no more than that. You can't do the work for them. You can't market for them. You never ever want somebody to say, well, I took her course and it sucked and I couldn't get a hold of her and she didn't give me other paper information. Or you know, on their taking responsibility, you never want them to say, oh, well, I took their course and it sucked. Like, I didn't succeed as a body sculptor because of her. Because then it's like, were you marketing? Were you doing the things? Were you putting yourself out there? Were you telling people about your business? So just ensure you have a really good contract going to where it's like you are the educator and that's what your job is. You can't do the work for them. Some type of contract to say you're not liable for how their business performs because it is your job to educate. So that is very important. Now, the very, very last one is to put yourself out there to market. So again, you're going to want to check your local requirements first and foremost. Step 2, get some sort of accreditation or something to say like, hey, I am experienced and I know what I'm doing. Create your materials, a good training manual, a super in-depth one. So create a contract, create your class, how many hours do you want it, how much you're going to charge, all those details. And once you have all that and your contract, put it out there, market it, get on YouTube. I'm always super flattered. There's thousands of body sculpting educators now, thousands. So I'm always flattered when someone does book with me because it means that they watch my YouTube videos and they connected with me and they like the way I explain things and they liked my personality. Just like a service provider, not everybody's going to be your student, and that's okay. You know, you're not going to click with everybody. They're not all going to like you or your education style, and that's okay. You have to come to peace with that. So those that are for you are for you. And yeah, it is very exciting. Put them on Instagram, put your packages, start advertising for it. As long as you have a year of experience, at least in body sculpting, and you checked all those boxes we discussed, you're good, girl. So, or guy. So that was a very brief generalization, step-by-step on how to become a body sculpting educator. Again, if you want something super in-depth and I can help you do pricing, I can help you think of your after-class resource stuff, I can help you create content, I can help you do other things, let me know. Drop an email and we can get you in our workshop. It's our 2-hour Zoom workshop, so you don't even have to be local to the California area. And thank you guys so much for watching. If I missed anything or didn't go in depth enough, drop it down below. Email me, conquerbeautyclinic@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, Conquer Beauty Clinic, or like I said, sign up for our workshop. Thank you guys so much for your time.